Top 5 factory-style games that I've played. We'll be talking about the following games in this video. If you do not want this game spoiled for you in any way, then skip ahead with the timestamps in the description. Number 5. Factory Town is a resource processing game that begins with tiny villagers bobbing around from building to building delivering goods. These villagers are later replaced by chutes, conveyor belts, and simple wagons, and then even further later by massive cargo ships and even airships. The game has a solid research tree with decent progression that will likely have you rebuilding your town again and again. The main problem that most find with the game is that after you finish the campaign, there is nothing to do. Free build is indeed endless, but once you reach the end of the technology tree, you'll find yourself with little to do besides checking boxes. But if you're looking for a chill game that you can get up and walk away from and not worry about coming back to a game over screen, this one is perfect, because it doesn't have a game over screen. Satisfactory is another game that doesn't hide what it's about in its title. In this one you'll be doing the expected thing of moving resource to building and then to another building, but this time it's going to be on a massive scale. It is possible with a ridiculous amount of planning that you could make a base with a relatively small area, but you'll find yourself running out of room more often than not. If you have a powerful rig to play this on, then this will not be much of an issue for you. However, if you're like me and you first put 400 hours into this game just to get to a point where the laptop was cooking my fingers as I played, and you were getting 1.5 frames per minute, just to find that you can no longer continue, you may want to give this one a pass until you can get that sweet custom-built PC of your dreams. I'm on my second playthrough with a much better PC, so perhaps this one will raise in my ranking in the future, if I can make it to the end this time. Coming in at number 3, Dyson Sphere has all of the factory and resource elements you would expect from being on this list, but it has one major advantage. You can, and are eventually expected to, fly to another planet and strip that one bare as well. There is also a strong emphasis placed on planetary combat. However, I must admit that the Space Hive assault that was hyped up for a ridiculously long amount of time, probably about 10 in real-life hours or more, just to be attacked by a single spaceship. I had been so worried about this impending attack I had built so many defenses that I had completely encircled both of my planets in weaponry, just for the enemy to go poof. Also, I was able to finish this game in about 119.7 hours of total Steam playtime, which is a bit low for this kind of game. At number 2, Fortresscraft Evolved will always be a special one to me. 1,232.8 hours of playtime, although admittedly I have not played it for more than 5 minutes in 5 or 6 years. I do still know the ins and outs of the game. Through most of its development cycle I played it daily, and I was making my first YouTube videos about the game, so I got to watch it evolve into what it is now. Just when you start to think it's just another factory game, the game starts making you dig down, further and further, searching for the new materials you need to scan to progress further, until you find yourself past the cold caverns and staring at a massive ocean of lava, knowing one wrong step will leave you falling to your death and all of your stuff gone forever. And finally, at number 1, of course, is Factorio. It's the number 1 for several reasons, the main one being that whenever people explain these kinds of games, Factorio is the name that's thrown around more often than not. Actually, scratch that. The main reason for me is trains. They did them so perfectly in this game, in my opinion. From the sounds to the simplicity of making a long looping circle simply to admire your factory from the cab of a steaming locomotive. Another reason it gets number 1 is I played it again fully with no mods, and noticed the game has seen real updates since I played it 7 years ago. Very rarely do you see that kind of dedication from developers. It's also one of the games I've covered in depth way back when I first started on YouTube, so it'll always hold a special place in my mind. Now here's some honorable mentions that I threw in just to make the list a little less obvious. Captain of Industry. This was fun, but didn't make the list because I never finished it, nor do I want to, because it got repetitive after about 220 hours of play with no end in sight, and nearly running out of resources to mine. I realized that I would likely have to restart if I wanted to win the game, so I uninstalled it instead. Tectonica, another game with an interesting emphasis on exploration. However, I also checked out of this one without finishing it because I had not realized just how much of the game would be about exploration and clearing out miles and miles of rock just to make tunnels. Yeah, you get a cool black hole machine to clear out the rock, but it is a little bit tedious eventually, even with the black hole machine making it so much fun. And lastly, Fallout 4's Add-on Contraptions Workshop. I put this one in as a little bit of a troll, but in all honesty, the factory building in Fallout wasn't as bad as I had expected from listening to all the negative hype about the expansion. When I found the expansions for sale and bundle for really cheap, maybe $10 or so for all of them, I gave it a try and had some fun making ammunition with the base game factory. The real fun, however, came with mods, when I found myself recycling everything in the wasteland into scrap, sorting the scrap, and automatically turning it into just about anything you can find in the game. I hope you liked the list of the top 5 factory-style games that I've played. Did your favorite factory game not make the list? Tell me what it is in the comments and I'm likely to check it out, seeing this is my favorite genre of game. If you enjoyed the video, why not drop a like? It helps me because YouTube will put the video in front of more people. And if you really want to help with making better content, I have a Patreon at patreon.com/626games. But for now, I appreciate you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.